So I would like to welcome everybody back to Alabama Care. And this week we have the Smith family with us today, as well as a family friend, Linda, and their son, Brad. So I'd like to hand it over and just let everybody introduce themselves. Brad, would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Brad Smith, my mom Denise, my dad Steve, my sister Linda.
That's right.
Friend Linda, and I'll let you guys introduce yourselves as well.
Okay, I'm Denise Smith, and as Brad said, I'm his mother. And, we've been on quite an adventure with him.
Steve Smith, I'm Brad's dad. That's how everybody finds me.
And I'm Linda Stone, and I'm Brad's assistant.
Very good. So I just kind of wanted to ask, Brad, have you always lived in Tuscaloosa area?
Yeah. No.
Tell me that story. How did you come to Tuscaloosa? Where did you live before?
Where'd you live before?
Texas.
In Texas.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big change.
Oh, yeah.
Texas to Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And what originally brought you guys to Alabama?
A job.
Yeah.
I changed employers and came here and brought the family. Moved away from city where their grandparents had lived. So.
From our roots.
Yeah, where the roots are kind of up.
Yeah.
It's a give and a take because I'm not married, but I imagine my future mother-in-law wouldn't want her 2 houses down sometimes. And there's other times where you're like,
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
So it's
And
a give
married.
and take.
Yeah, we're married. Yes, we
So
are.
they,
Kid married.
so the whole family's been here since early 1995.
95. And that's been here in the Tuscaloosa area? That's
My kid's married.
Yes, and Brad has 2 older brothers. One that lives in the Destin, Florida area, and one that lives in Spokane, Washington.
Yeah.
Spokane,
Yeah.
Washington. So you guys are kind of branched out a little bit. You got all sectors of the U.S. all close there. So,
Mountains, beach,
cold.
yes,
Freezing.
hot.
And David, from him.
That's my
Linda's
daughter.
daughter is in Birmingham.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So one good thing about living in Tuscaloosa, I would have to say, is college football. Now, Brad, do you have a favorite football team?
I do.
And who would that be?
What?
Who's your favorite football team?
That's,
What's on your shirt?
Wall guy.
Roll Tide. Coming to the state, I've only been here for 2 years, but I feel like as soon as I cross the state line, everybody's, what's your team? What's your
That's
team?
right.
And it's like, whoa, okay. Now, Brad, have you got to visit your brothers in Florida and Washington?
Yeah, I do. Listen, Mary, but listen, Mary.
His oldest brother Jeremy and his wife Christy live in Florida, and they have 3 children.
Oh, really? So you have
Listen, Mary.
Yeah, and he has two nephews and a niece.
2 nephews and a niece.
Japanese.
Adopted niece too.
Yes, my dude.
Oh,
Robert Lucille.
And then we kind of have a little adopted family, Robert and Rochelle, and they have 2
Up,
children.
Okay.
Up at the hospital.
Yeah.
you guys have a very big family. I congratulate you for that.
Up at the hospital.
What?
Robert,
police
police
officer.
officer.
Oh, Robert's a police officer.
Yeah.
Police are- Have you ever taken a
And
ride?
nurse. And nurse.
And Rochelle's a nurse, yes.
And Michelle's a nurse.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken a ride in a police officer's car with your brother?
No.
Oh, you got it.
No.
Just for fun in the front, you just have to ask him, hey, can I take a ride in the car?
Could you, Mary does it.
What?
Mary does it good friends. Kids.
Oh, she's talking about my daughter-in-law's good friend that lives here in town, Melanie.
Oh,
And
Kids.
her kids too.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a couple best friends here in Tuscaloosa that you like to hang out with?
Mary, John Smith.
John
John Smith.
Smith?
Donna Smith.
Oh, Donna Smith. And who is Donna Smith?
She used to live in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah,
Now she
that's
lives
good.
in Virginia.
In Virginia.
But who do you do things with at Para?
Oh. We went to do a movie.
You had a dinner and a movie,
Cook class.
cooking class.
And Not shine.
Night to Shine.
I come up.
It's coming up.
Now, what is Night to Shine? Is it a?
It's the Tim Tebow Foundation.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I thought you were an Alabama fan. Tim Tebow's from Florida. What's going on there?
He almost came to Alabama. We've adopted him.
Well, how do you think about the quarterback from Alabama? He's going to Oklahoma. Did you hear that? Jalen Hurts is supposed to be leaving Alabama and he's going to Oklahoma, I heard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. Grandma.
He has a grandma.
Grandma.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts has a grandma,
Yeah.
but Tua is still there, so he's a pretty good quarterback. I think you
Yeah.
guys will be in the championships
Yeah.
again. In the next
He likes to come into the games and cheer a minute and leave again, so he doesn't follow it real closely.
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a football game in the stadium? Not yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not
That's
yet.
all right. Not yet. Maybe next season.
maybe so.
So we talked a little bit about some of the friends that you have here in town and some of the activities that you do. You said you go watch like some movies and dinner. What's been kind of your favorite movie that you've seen recently?
I love Bear Bunch.
He loves the Brady Bunch.
Oh, the Brady Bunch.
And
They did a movie out of that, didn't they?
Oh, years and years ago. This is just, he watches it on his iPad.
I got Christmas.
Oh, and you got it for Christmas too.
Yeah.
You got the
The
DVD.
movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the DVD.
What else did you get for Christmas? What other videos did you get for Christmas?
Yeah. Bear Bunch.
Brady Bunch and what else?
High School Musical.
High School Musical. And didn't you love, what did you ask Jeremy Christie for? Mamma Mia?
Money it goes again.
That's a musical, a dancing kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it with my girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you like to dance to Mamma Mia when it's on TV?
Oh, a DVD.
On DVD. Yes.
On DVD. Yeah. That's very good. And so
Yeah.
you also do some cooking classes.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy cooking though? Do you enjoy like making desserts, or what's your favorite thing to cook?
Next cook class, red pizza. Next cook class.
Next cooking class, you got pizza.
Oh, you doing pizza?
Oh yeah.
You put pepperonis on them?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
What about mushrooms?
Oh yeah.
I don't know about
Oh yeah.
I don't like mushrooms. But that's okay. If that's what you
On
want.
this month.
Next month, they do cooking class through Therapeutic Recreation program at Para.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they have cooking classes twice a month. They do dinner and a movie once a month, and they have a dance once a month.
Oh yeah.
Once a month, they could do a big activity. Like in February, I think they're going to go to the gymnastics meet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
this
Okay.
something it's only a couple times a month?
Yeah.
Part like that. And then when you're not going to Para, what do you enjoy doing? What do you like to do during the day?
Hang out.
What do we
Eat
do?
out.
What do we do on Monday and Wednesdays?
Oh. Go swimming. Look at your
No,
mom.
no,
Go talk to they.
on Monday and Wednesdays, you go to Publix,
My bitch.
What do you do, Publix?
Back of pads.
bag boy.
Back in the-
Oh, so you work at Publix.
Yeah.
That is a super big high five. That is super big high
Hey, you my boy.
You're his brother now.
Oh, man.
Everybody gets
He
adopted
is.
into our
He
family.
is our sister.
She's our sister. Everybody gets adopted into our family.
And what do you do on Tuesdays?
Okay. Go swimming.
Mm-hmm.
Go pick up your mom.
I pick up my mom
And
and
go talk to they.
go to Taco Tuesday.
five. Taco Tuesday. Now, is it Taco Tuesday at the same location every time?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And if give a shout out to your local taco, what's the name of the restaurant that you like to eat tacos at?
Lots of pizza.
La Fiesta.
La
Yeah.
Fiesta. They got good tacos?
Oh yeah.
Next time I'm down here on Tuesday, I'm going to have to check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And come.
You can come on Tuesdays,
Come
I'm
on
saying.
Yeah. I'll hit you guys up if you guys are going.
11:45 every Tuesday.
Bye.
Now, Brad, I'd like to ask, how long have you been working at Publix?
No.
5, 6
5,
years.
6 years.
in,
Maybe
5 years
it
in
is, yeah.
April.
And you're really enjoying it there? Do you enjoy the people that you work with?
Yeah. But my wife, Ashley.
Oh, he gets engaged to every cute cashier that's there.
I would do the same
I
thing.
think let's go. I miss your boyfriend. He got me my dad.
He likes to pretend he's Troy Bolton from High School Musical.
I'm not familiar with Troy Bolton, but I'm guessing he's kind of like the man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Zac
I go home, watch it.
Oh, yes.
Mom, go home, watch it.
Yeah, we'll go home and watch it. But every 6 months, when he has a 6-month review, most every 6 months, he gets a raise. So they value what he's doing. In fact, there are people that go to Publix on Mondays and Wednesdays because they know he's there. And so that's when they shop and get their dose of bread.
And they wait till he's in the aisle that they want to check out into.
Yeah.
Yes.
And lunch.
And lunch too. Yeah.
And lunch.
Now, how many hours do you typically work during a day? Is it a couple hours? Usually about 2 hours, 3 hours?
What hours do you work? I'm sorry. What hours do you work?
Excuse me.
Monday, Wednesdays,
Mondays and Wednesdays from
10 to 12.
10 to 12.
10 to 12.
Yeah.
Very good. And so you've been working there for 5 years. Do you remember when you first started, were you a little bit nervous? Was this your first job?
Actually, not his first job.
What's up?
Right.
Yeah.
But he's used to work at Walgreens and he's worked at
Dollar General.
Dollar General.
And then more.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. And you enjoy working at Publix a little bit more than the other ones?
And we.
Well, he got really sick when he was working at Walgreens and had to quit. So when he
wow.
got well
Yeah.
enough to go back to work, he went to work at Publix.
Yeah.
Not because of the job, it just
He
he
just-
had a bad spell there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
That's a great move.
Oh, his other assistant moved, and so Linda took her place.
Yeah. Yeah.
I imagine you seem like you enjoy other people's company, and I imagine Publix enables you to interact with a lot of different people. So
Yeah.
I imagine you enjoy working there.
And what go?
Oh, every year an African choir comes to town, and we will house a couple of them in our house. It's the Watoto Children's Choir.
Yeah.
So he loves hanging with the Watoto children.
Yeah.
Are they? What time of the year do they come? Do they normally come over Christmas, or is it during the summer?
It's usually in February or March.
Maybe
Oh, so
more.
they're coming soon.
Yeah.
They're coming in the next month or so. Then.
Yeah. So
Oh yeah.
And when they come and they stay at your house, do they sing and do they kind of play some drums or?
No. And out.
they hang out.
No, they're just.
They just hang out at our house, but they do performances and concerts at different places.
I
Yeah.
didn't know if you guys jam session at the house is a warm up or.
No.
By the time they get to our house, they're exhausted. They just want to go to bed.
Yeah.
Thank you for your hospitality, Clint.
Yeah.
Down.
And supper.
And they eat supper with us. That's
Yeah.
So you're on your third job, and I'm sorry, I didn't even ask, but how old are you, Brad?
I will do.
32.
I will be my birthday.
You'll be 33 on your next birthday.
Yeah.
And when is your birthday?
March
In March.
March what?
4th.
March the 4th.
So you are, I'm July 10th, and I'm also 32, so you're only a couple months older than me. We're about the same age.
Yeah, that bro.
Hey, bro.
Hey, bro. And so Brad is, he's had 3 jobs now with 3 different companies. How did that come about? Was that a tricky thing to bridge from the education system, or how did you guys really facilitate that?
When he was 18 to 21, he went to the Crossing Points program at the university.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's a program that works with individuals 18 to 21 who are still qualified for school under IDEA. And it's on the university campus where they work on job skills and life skills and just social skills. And so through, at the very end of Crossing Points, he got the job at Dollar General, worked there for a couple of years, I guess, at 2 different places,
And then more.
and not anymore.
No. Public.
The Publix is cool.
And then, I don't even know what happened. It just didn't work out, and he left Dollar General. And through the support employment program here in town. He went to work with a job coach at Walgreens, and that lasted a couple of years, and he got really sick for like a year. And so he had to quit his job. And his assistant, Sarah, that came before Linda, worked with Publix and got him the job at Publix, and he's been there ever since.
So starting out, it was kind of the education system that really kick-started things there with the employment search. And that was facilitated by the school?
That was facilitated by the Crossing Port program. It's
Different
a
organization.
collaborative between the university, the city schools, and the county schools.
Okay.
And so it's a little bit of everything. So we worked with them, they worked with us. We found the job, and then they provided a job coach for him to go and learn the job.
Yeah, so the job learning, do you remember learning the job for, you said Walgreens was the first one?
No, a Dollar General.
Dollar General.
I do.
What type of things did you have to learn before that you were able to start working at, like, Publix? Did you have to go through a training program there?
Yeah.
Yep.
And Linda was with you?
Well, not in the beginning.
Okay.
Picked up later on, but they have to do like quarterly training, and he does that on the computer, and we just kind of watch it. I ask him questions, and we answer. But as far as that goes, he has been doing it for 5 years now. He knows how to bag groceries and go get carts and brings them in.
I get chips.
And
Chips.
and you get chips for break.
Oh.
Chips.
Chips.
Oh, tips.
Tips?
Oh, tips! Oh, I'm sorry.
Actually, I thought you said too.
Yeah, every now and then he'll get a little tip there.
They had a couple extra bucks on the side.
And
There
let
you
me
go.
tell you the funniest story. When he was working there first, Publix doesn't encourage tips. And so he helped the lady out to her car, and she said, "I can't give you a tip," so she gave him a fried chicken leg. And he came back in eating a chicken leg.
Chicken leg's good at any time. Yeah. Probably right before
And
lunch.
it was right up his alley, so it was really good.
It's good chicken.
It was good chicken.
Do you like hot wings, like spicy
Mom.
chicken?
What do you?
No.
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 Come on. I'm a kiwi.
Yes, he does.
What is your favorite food?
Pizza hamburgers.
Pizza and
Hamburgers.
hamburgers. What about ice cream? You like ice cream?
Yeah, and birthday cake ice cream.
What?
Birthday cake.
Birthday cake ice
Oh,
cream.
birthday
Yeah.
cake ice cream. Yeah, that is pretty good. It's-
It's Earthen. It's all.
Her husband, son, and daughter sometimes go with them
oh, nice to get some ice cream and
or to eat.
eat out there.
Yeah.
Sounds like you enjoy eating out.
Yeah.
A little
Some
bit.
hamburgers. And,
He just enjoys eating.
Yeah. My ex-wife.
Your ex-wife.
yeah.
Katie's your ex.
Yeah, get it,
Her
my
daughter, he
ex-wife.
called her daughter his ex-wife.
Yeah.
So kind of a what would be like an average daily routine from when you wake up to when you go to bed? What is that? What time do you normally wake up?
About 7 or so. Yeah.
And what does the average day kind of look like? I know we spent Monday, Wednesday's work.
Well, Linda can probably tell you that.
Well, like I said, Monday and Wednesday, our mornings are usually pretty busy.
Yeah.
That's when we go swimming, or like today on Thursdays, we do laundry and trash, like chores for the week.
Yeah.
And it's on Thursday mornings, and so we do that. But the rest, so mornings every week. Afternoons are basically whatever we want to do, whatever we plan to do. Today we had every day just about this week we had doctor's appointments, but just minor stuff. But sometimes we'll meet up with other people, or we'll go back to my house, or just anything you would normally do on a daily basis.
Shopping out in the
Shopping.
community.
Yeah.
That's the big thing that we were after.
Pick up
is
prescriptions.
Yes.
Practicums out in the community.
Right.
On Friday he has another assistant that works
Joey.
with him, Tori,
Sorry. Oh, baby.
and her family. And so
Yeah.
he does things with her and her family. They go chom.
Yeah,
They
Tommy.
go swimming on Fridays. He swims on Tuesday and Friday. So they go
Yeah,
swimming Friday mornings.
friends.
Friends, yeah. And she'll,
Yeah.
her mom works at an elementary school, so they'll go and help her mom.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
He does a lot. He's out and about all
He
day.
does.
That
Ma,
was
how about
something
your
that-
dad?
My aunt really enjoys being around kids, specifically like 5 to 12. And I was trying to get her into a few different like daycare centers, but I was having some backlash there. That, well, you're not a paying customer or that type of thing. Did you have any of that with Brad being in the school, like helping in the classroom, or how did that go?
Well, he's never really kind of helped in a classroom. He's been in the regular ed class on several, well, the majority of the time, because we wanted him exposed to typically developing peers. His language improved when he was in a typically developing grade appropriate class. His behavior improved, and he learns a lot that you don't think he's learning. So he picked up a lot of things. He was in a field trip at Camp McDowell, which is a science center. And he was the only one that knew the answer in that 5th grade class. His teacher was so surprised because she was unaware that he had been listening. It was a typical 5th grade class. And so he's been included the majority of his life in, he's been pulled out, especially for some instruction, but as much as possible, he was included in regular general ed classroom.
During his, when he was growing, till he was 21.
Yes.
After 21, he really, he just visits in a classroom from
Yeah.
time to time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
But that brings up a really good point. I would like to talk a little bit about entering the education system and maybe some struggles or some things that you guys really saw paid dividends in the future. So Brad started going to school in kindergarten, or were there some earlier things there?
No.
Early childhood.
He was born with some serious medical conditions. They told us he wouldn't live until he was 6. He's 32, almost 33. And so he's had some interesting challenges, and still does. Has rheumatoid arthritis, and he got an infusion for that this week.
Did it hurt?
He does once a month. He does that. But he's been in an early childhood program since he was 4 months old.
Okay. Is that like a Bell Center type of program, or?
Yeah, it would be something like that.
Yeah.
Except they came to us. It was in the home environment, the natural environment where he was.
Oh,
And
really?
they came in and did OTPT speech, just teaching us how to do things to help stimulate him. He was really, really, really sick during that time, but he still was able to, the more stimulation we could get him, the better off it was. And when he was 3, he went into the public school in Texas. And he was in a segregated early childhood classroom with other kids with disabilities. But when he went to kindergarten, he went half a day to that class and then half a day in a general ed kindergarten class.
Now, did you guys notice a big difference when that started to?
Yes.
Really? Even so, at home, you would notice a big difference in communication and behavior.
His language
Interaction.
exploded. His behavior was better. And I'll tell you a story. Sorry, bud. There was a little girl in his class whose brother was good friends with our middle son. And so I was in the class one day, brought the obligatory cupcakes for birthday. And I said, so Elizabeth, I understand Brad has some behavior problems sometimes. And she said, oh yeah, but we love him anyhow. It was just, that's what they did in the kindergarten class. He didn't walk at the time. He scooted on his bottom. And it didn't bother anybody in center time or circle time. He just would scoot wherever he needed to go. And like we said, his language exploded that year. And he was able to communicate better. And that's when we felt like it was really important for him to be in a regular general ed class and interacting with typical peers.
Yeah, it wasn't like you guys were reading an article on the benefits of having an inclusive class, but you guys saw it firsthand. Like, this is a real thing. We need to, at that point, was it like, did you get any pullback from the education system, or were there?
Well, I mean, there's always pushback from any institutional setting like that because they view it as more expense, okay? And that's just an unfortunate part of the system. But as far as the teachers and getting them into the classroom setting, that went very well pretty much every time.
In the earlier years. His kindergarten teacher in Texas said she taught a morning kindergarten class and an afternoon kindergarten class. and he was in the afternoon kindergarten class. And she said at the end of that year, her afternoon class was more prepared to go to first grade because Brad had been in the classroom. They learned how to be helpers with him. They learned how to become independent, and they were more able to take responsibility for themselves. And they were prepared for first grade.
Yeah.
So it was a win-win kind of situation.
It's prepping for life after the education system.
Absolutely.
And I feel like a lot of people are, no, we don't want that in the class because it's going to take away from my son or daughter's education. But in reality, it allows them to grow in a way that they would not be able to if that.
His first grade teacher here in Tuscaloosa, he was behind 3 years because he was so sick that we started him out in a first grade class when he was 9. When we moved here, so he was 3 years behind his typically developing peers. But his first grade teacher, one day something happened and he threw his hands up and he said, "I'm stupid," and he walked away from the center. And so she called him back in and they had a discussion with everybody in the class, in the typical first grade class, about sometimes we have our behavior might be not what we want it to be, but everybody has something to bring to the group. So it was a great learning lesson for him to know that he was welcome at any point, and for the other kids to know that no matter what they did, everybody has their ups and downs, and it was okay.
Yeah.
So it was a great learning point for everybody there.
I feel like that's very crucial, and I've spoke with people in the education, and special ed teachers, that kind of wish-washy the thing should be, but I think the inclusion is very important there, at least for some part of the day.
As long as the supports are there,
As long as the supports,
You can't just throw a child with special needs into a classroom and expect the regular teacher to do it all by herself.
it would kind of be like an ESL too, where if this person couldn't speak English, and
Right.
you have to have support there as well.
He's
No.
pretty much had someone, an aide or some type of assistant with him throughout his school career, which has been helpful for him to be included in that.
Ivy,
Ivy in elementary school and middle school.
high school.
And well, not in high school, she wasn't in high school. But I'll tell you another story. I'm full of stories. In high school, we had extended year program, and one of the special ed teachers at Hillcrest High School worked with him that summer, and she would give him X amount of money and give him 3 things to go into the store to buy. And then she would send him in the store by himself to do it independently.
Yeah.
And of course, as soon as he got in the store, she was out of the car walking behind him to make
Kind
sure
of going like this
yeah,
through the
right.
window.
But he learned how to ask for help. He learned how to pay for his own things. He learned how to get 2 or 3 things and know where to go and what to do with them. So that was part of teaching him independent living as well. So we've had some really good encounters with the education system. We've had some issues as well.
Mhm.
I had a principal tell me one time that my expectations for him were too high. And I told him he's outlived everybody's expectations, so we can't put any limits on what he can do. I had a job counselor one time tell us that we were ruining his life by not putting him in a sheltered workshop and a group home. And obviously we haven't ruined his life because he's got a pretty full life.
I can see just energy and love flowing out of you, Brad. I think you and your parents are doing exactly the right thing. I think that's really important. No matter what program you're going to go forward with, it is important to pair up with the personnel in that organization that has your same beliefs in what's possible. Like my Aunt Bridget, she's going into Lakeshore now, and we do some Zoom on Mondays and Wednesdays. And she's not very mobile, so that really helps her with her bottom part of her legs. But we also just got physical therapy prescribed, so we're going to be doing that. But we've had the physical therapy before, and you have to pair up with the right physical therapist.
Right.
Because they're not used to having a patient such as my aunt. So, it's very important that I'm there for those first few visits to say, hey, this person's just not going to be the right PT.
Right.
We need to keep trying the next person until that fits. So,
And I think one of the things that people find too is they look at the outside package and say, Brad, has difficulty speaking, Brad has Down syndrome, Brad has all of these other things, until they get to know him. And then they see that, he has a cute personality, he's funny, he can be a toot. And, that he can do a lot more than what you thought he could do.
Brad, I know that you have your own communication style, and there are a lot of times when we're talking, and I'm not quite sure of that word, but I know if I spent a week,
yeah.
I would learn that. My aunt has a very similar. She's nonverbal, but if you listen to her, she'll tell you what she wants and teach you how to take care of her.
Absolutely.
And she'll tell you if she's not happy with you.
Yeah.
You don't ever have to wonder about that.
So no matter what step you're at, for anybody watching, you're going to come across some people in great organizations that don't share your similar beliefs on what the long-term goal is. But that's okay. You just find the next person in that organization that does.
Well, and we had a teacher at one point that thought we were doing him a disservice by not having him in a segregated setting. And we kept saying, he's fine in elementary, but when he's 18, 21, and he's out in the community, he needs to have some skills. Well, as he progressed and as she progressed through school with some other kids, she came back and said, I see the need. I see where you are. So she was able to see that, it's not just, these are cute little kids. These are cute little kids who need a future. And so she got on the bandwagon.
She's now a believer in
Yeah.
that.
I'd say the biggest challenge with professionals in the service field is they've got this program, and they want you to fit their program. That's not life.
It's easy for them if that happens.
Yes.
It's a program, and I even noticed that with ADMH. There are waivers and services there, but if you don't fit into that category, there might not be a category for you.
Right.
And so it's kind of by the book, and that can be frustrating. And I think Alabama's doing a lot of great things and making and kind of implementing some changes.
One of the things that he has a Medicaid waiver, but he also, under that waiver, he does self-directed services. So he's able to hire his own staff. He's able to use his money in the way that he wants to use it. So, there's a lot of things that he's able to do that we don't have to follow some program. We can say this is what he wants to do. If we want to go out of town, then he's got some people to provide respite. We can use some of that money for that.
Katie.
Katie sometimes provides respite. And so
Let's
that's one of the great programs that Alabama DMH has done, is to provide self-directed services. Now, not everybody's on board with that, but it's been a good thing for Brad.
I think it's a great thing.
And Lacey is another person that works with us.
Now, is the self-directed, that's through Pat Larkin?
Yes.
Is that?
Yeah.
And I know that the last figure I heard, there was only about 150 people on self-directed, but the goal is to get it up to close to 1,000
Yes.
In the next few years. So I know that waiver is being fully supported by the state, and there's just maybe a little bit of a funnel kind of clench there, but
Yeah.
once it kind of opens up, I think there'll be a lot more people on self-directed.
We were in the pilot program for that.
Oh,
And
really?
so we got to be some of the first people that had the opportunity to use it. It's a great opportunity for somebody to live in the community, have access to different services, and maybe, his goal, Brad, what do you want to do? Do you want to live at home with us, or do you want to live in your own apartment?
He's changing it for you, put it on the spot.
Changes by the day. But
Normally, he'll say he wants his own apartment, and so he would need 24-hour care, and that would be one of the goals, is to find a roommate where they could, share that with self-directed services and be able to live independently.
Yeah. Now, what about the possibility of someone that wasn't on self-directed? Like,
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
that
we're
what
not-
you were kind of hinting at there?
No, we're just, if we could find the right fit and make the money work, then it would be, we'd go for it.
I spoke with a family up in, what the heck is the city just north of, I'm drawing a blank right now. Huntsville. That was looking for a very similar situation. His son had some altercations in the group home that he was in. The family wasn't able to really take care of him on a day-to-day basis because they had some of their own medical issues and stuff like that. And so they were really wondering what the next option was. And I kind of hinted at that, are there other families out there that have sons or daughters that maybe they could have their own apartment together, and you guys could kind of share those resources that are provided through the waivers, because sometimes one person's waivers aren't enough for
Right,
all supports needed.
right.
But if you can find two people that get along
Mhm.
and make it work, you can kind of share those resources. As long as the families have to be on board
Right,
too.
right. And so that's what we're looking for him, and that's what he wants.
How's that going?
Well, he's still living at home right now. So it's a process. He's
like it?
watching himself in the camera and making faces at the camera.
All right. Did you,
I'll make you visit.
but did you notice you have to wait for a few seconds for it to show up? It's a slight delay there because once you'll see your faces going right.
Yeah.
Here it comes. Here it comes. Now let's go. A 15-second delay there. I'd like to talk a little bit about initially making the transition out of the education system. Were you able to get the self-directed right off the bat, or what did that look like?
Denise was the driver there.
I have a background in advocacy for individuals with disabilities, and so I was able to know what the resources were. He got the Medicaid waiver, back then it was called the DD waiver. Now it's called the ID waiver, the intellectual disabilities waiver. And he actually it's called the MR waiver back then. It's the ID waiver now. So we were able to get the waiver. But we had to go through agencies to get services. So as the pilot program for self-directed services came in, we hopped on board and we're a part of that. So
Yeah.
we've been doing this, I guess, about 10 years.
Well, so pretty much since he was 21, 22,
Yeah.
Yeah. I meet quite a bit of families that say that they need to be on a waiver, but they haven't been accepted.
The list is forever long.
It's like 3,000 people long, I think.
There's a waiting list that's over 2,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just people, this waiting list is people that qualify for services, need services, but the state hasn't cut loose the supports.
I heard something, I don't know if it's true or not, but that you can't have two people on the same waiver in the same year. I don't know if that works or
I
not.
don't know about that either.
So
I know you can't have two waivers.
Right.
Like he started out on the elderly disabled waiver
Mhm.
when he was still in school, and we had respite services through that. But as soon as he turned 21 and was eligible or was able to get on the ID waiver, then the END waiver, the elderly disabled waiver,
it's,
went away, and we went full time onto the ID waiver.
which I think is appropriate.
Oh, absolutely.
And then self-directed is a subcategory of the ID kind of
Right.
thing there.
Yes.
So, Brad, I'm hearing two mixed stories here. Your parents say that some days you want your own apartment, and some days you want to live at home with your mom and your dad.
Yeah.
Do you have any friends that you would want to live with in your own apartment?
Mom, I'm here.
Help here. There's not any one particular person. He just would love a roommate to be able to live with and share things with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine you guys wearing baseball caps and throwing some ball in the backyard.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Driving Linda crazy.
Well, he already does that, I think.
Yeah.
That's not.
All by himself.
So then, Linda, your friend here, you're with Brad pretty much from 8 o'clock until
7:30 to 5:30.
7:30 to 5:30 every day, except for Friday.
Just
And,
Monday through Friday, Thursday.
and then somebody else's for Friday, but does that also extend to the weekend or just the weekday?
It's just the weekday.
It's a 50-hour waiver.
50-hour waiver, okay. And then after that, it's you guys and Brad.
Mhm. So he goes everywhere we go and does everything we do, because we really can't leave him at home by himself for other than real short periods of time. I'll just give you a little bit of his background. He's legally blind.
What?
Yes, you
I
would
would have
not know
never
that.
guessed.
He's had,
Your ears got to be like the best ears ever then.
he's had 4 eye surgeries. He's had 4 sets of tubes. He's had leukemia. He's had an open heart surgery. He's on his 3rd pacemaker. He has rheumatoid arthritis. He's had scoliosis surgery. He's has had 66 pneumonias. He's got upper right lobe damage in his lungs.
And open heart surgery.
He had open heart surgery when he was 5 months old. So he's got a lot of health medical issues, and so
That would be a fear of mine, of
Well,
something happening and nobody being there.
yes.
I mean, that's a fear of mine if I were living alone
Right.
and not being able to reach the phone, but I understand that.
So we don't leave him at home by himself. She's usually pretty there with us all the time.
But, you know, he can, I mean, he does little chores around the house. He can, he'll typically get toast for breakfast, and push come to shove, he can do that. As long as he leaves the knob alone, adjusts how much.
Yeah, I went outside.
Sometimes it's been charcoal coming out of there.
Yeah, I went outside.
We went
I
outside.
smoked.
You burnt the toast?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
And then it came.
when Linda came.
Yeah.
So,
Tried to make his own toast before Linda got there.
you know, that's the reason you don't want to leave him for an extended period. But he handles the majority of his day on his own.
He gets up, he gets dressed, he makes his bed up as soon as he gets up. He vacuums on Fridays, not just
Your
his
parents
room.
are putting you to work. You gotta earn your living at the house, isn't that?
We're trying to kick him out of the house.
Fuck him, Mom.
and he-
Let's
like,
get the chore list so high, he's like, oh, I want my own
I'm out of
place.
here. He and Linda do laundry on
Yeah.
Thursdays, and he can fold his clothes and put them away. And if he could reach inside the washer and transfer them from the washer to the dryer, he would do that, but it's too high up for me. So he can do. He
He's very
cleans off the
independent.
table.
Yeah, he's very independent.
I could see something where roommate would be perfect.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
sharing those resources,
Absolutely.
that would be
Yeah.
long term. And I know from the family side too that, you know, sometimes you guys do need a little bit of you get a break during the day, but you're also probably at work and taking care of other things. So maybe some respite time has been, you know, when you've used that. I noticed, I kind of did a little bit of Facebook snoop. I noticed you guys were on vacation. It looked like Ireland or
Yes.
I saw this castle on the side of the river and I'm like, where are they staying right now?
Yeah. So while we were in Ireland, we do have some respite services, and so our team of people. It takes 5 people to cover the time with him when we're going to be out of town for a week.
Take me through that again. So that would be day and night then. So
Yeah.
okay.
We have to logistically 168 hours in a week, and nobody can work over 40, and you can't work over 14 in a row. So,
Yeah, that's true. That brings up stuff I didn't think about.
So thank goodness he's a really good planner.
Yeah. So you just have to, it divvies up, and if we're gone for a week, that means 5 people are involved in his care.
Yeah. Now, how did you go about finding those 5 people? Or is there an agency that kind of helps with that?
Every
Word of mouth.
yeah. Every person we've gotten has been word of mouth.
So just family, friends, and kind of spreading from
When Linda took over for the last lady that worked, Monday through Thursday, and Linda worked on Friday, and she moved off to Indiana to take care of family. So Linda took Monday through Thursday, and we had to find somebody on Friday. So we just put the word out on Facebook. We need someone to help,
there.
and friends have referred people. People from our church have worked with him. Linda's daughter has worked with us, and her husband. So we're just, it's people we trust.
Mama,
Those
seen you?
relationships that you
Yes,
have. It's
yes.
like when you have a good friend, they become a great friend.
Yeah.
You know, so it's nurturing those
Yeah.
relationships.
Mom, Cindy,
Cindy,
my golf group.
from your college group?
Yeah.
Oh, tell me about your college group. What is that all about? And who is Cindy, by the way?
I don't know who Cindy is.
No,
Where-
you
Where
didn't
do you
tell
go
your
to
mom?
church?
Valley View.
Valley View Baptist.
I'm my group class.
Say
He's,
that.
he's involved in a Bible study class of
Ooh.
typical developing peers,
Mm.
people in the 30s and 40s.
You.
And for a while, for a long time, he came up through the children's and youth and college.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
just in the past couple of years, he's moved out of the college group into an adult Bible study class.
Gotcha.
And so they have parties, and there's a couple that comes and picks him up and takes him to the party. And he came home apparently with the gift from the Dirty Santa party.
Yeah.
What did you get?
Yeah.
What did you pick?
A walk.
Yeah, it's one of the salt rocks that's supposed
Yeah,
to
yeah.
and do that kind of thing.
Like a bath salt kind of thing, or salt rock?
I
It's
don't
a
know, it's a
lamp.
lamp.
It's a lamp.
Yeah.
Oh, like a
Yeah.
lava?
Yeah.
Not a lava lamp. It's a chunk of salt with a
It's just a rock with a light stuck in it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
air purifier.
It looks like
Yeah.
a white granite looking
Yeah.
rock with a light in it.
It really sounds like you guys are running what was originally, and still is, the basis of what they call a microboard. The original microboard was out of Canada.
yeah.
And it didn't really have anything to do with running a community provider and the finances. It didn't have anything to do with that. That's something that my grandfather did for his daughter. But it really focused on being involved in the community and finding that support network.
Right, exactly.
I think you guys are taking that to the max, and I think that you're seeing, how that really benefits you and Brad and everybody there. And I would recommend anybody that, is in the community listening or watching, if you're running into troubles or you're getting stuck at specific phases, and having some difficulties, just keep reaching out to different organizations and different groups. Get involved. Church groups, stuff like that. State agencies. Knock on doors as many as you can. Introduce yourself and start there.
Some of the things that we've learned to say are, well, why can't we do that? Or, that's not acceptable, what can we do instead? And not just settle for what somebody says. When somebody says no, that's usually when I start saying,
Why not?
let's talk. Sometimes I don't talk as nicely as I should.
Well, they say if you're not planning your future, somebody's doing it for you.
Mhm.
So it's taking a lead there and kind of putting your foot down. No, follow us. We're going this way. Well, I don't have too many other questions, but I kind of wanted to. Is there anything we haven't talked about?
Well, there is one thing I wanted to mention. We did this years ago, I guess about when he turned 21, was we created a special needs trust for Brad. And I'd highly recommend that for anybody with a adult child, or in situations similar to ours, because that will fund if we're not around anymore, and that will enable his supports to go on.
Now, is that the Enable Savings Plan, or is that a separate?
There's an Able account that's available. Feds passed that a couple, 3 years ago, I guess. And there's a state agency where you can set up some of those kind of, but the special needs trust, you actually set it up with a lawyer, it gets approved by Social Security, so it doesn't affect his SSI benefit. And it's much more robust, is what I would say. Able is limited. How much you can get into the Able account, how much you can take out. I'm not sure about the second, but I know it's limited how much you can put into it. So I just see the special needs trust, it's geared towards Brad,
Now, who? I'd like to dig in a little bit on that for anybody listening. Special needs trust is something that you set up. It's a fund kind of that you'll deposit money into.
It's a trust.
A trust fund there.
It's living trust, yeah.
Now, who? You also have to have. Brad's the beneficiary of that, but you also have to have a trustee there. And so you would have to have somebody that was willing to make sure that finances, all Brad's things were. And how did you go about finding that trustee?
Well, we're the trustees until both of us are gone. Then it will be his brothers. But you could designate anybody. Usually it's just an individual, or you could designate a bank as a trustee, some
attorney or somebody.
attorney or
Anybody
something like
wanted
that.
to.
But it's you do have to have that person directing the trust
Yeah.
and looking out after his needs. making sure he gets the money that he needs to augment his lifestyle.
And they have to be very familiar. My grandfather set up a very similar trust for my aunt, and so I am trustee of that. But
You're familiar with it then?
it's called a survivor benefit plan, and it was through the military. My grandfather is career military, and so he paid into that, and now after his passing, it kicked in for her.
Right.
But I don't have any relationship with this Family Special Needs Trust through the state.
Well, the thing that's neat about Special Needs Trust is that pretty much every other financial thing you try to set up, if you try to put the money in, if we took the money and gave it to one of his brothers and said, you use that money to help him, well, if that brother were to get sued for some reason or divorced, then it'll be their asset and that'll be attached. Here is the trust. It's set up, Brad's the beneficiary. That's it. You know, it just
So the
follows
money's
him.
protected.
Yeah.
But after Brad passes, then whatever's there goes to his brothers. So we're actually able to keep the money flowing in the family.
That's one big difference. I did an interview with the treasurer of Alabama, young Boozer, a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about the Enable Savings Plan. And one thing that kind of caught me off guard that I asked a question about was what happens after the passing. And the state, I think it was just the state or the federal government recoups that money for the services provided during that time. And then anything after that would be dispersed for funeral expenses. Or I think funeral expenses were first taken care of, that kind of thing. But so that's one difference that I see there.
So this was the thing that our other children would benefit as well and continue to, you know, our desires for our children would be met.
Now, is there a limit to that as well? Is there a cap to how much you need? Sky's the limit there. 'Cause I think the Enable, I think it tops out at 300,000. I think they just put it up to 300,000.
And how much you put in every year is limited, I believe.
I think to 15. I think it's 15,000 a year, so it takes you a while to get there.
So what we're doing is we'll take our assets, if we're both gone, and those assets go over into the trust, and that'll keep him going, and it should be more than enough to keep him going, really. And then when he passes, then it goes to the family.
And now, as a trustee, you have to be very familiar with the daily living and the daily needs. And you mentioned that his brothers, one lives in Washington, one lives in Florida. So if you two weren't here, would they move closer, or would Brad move closer to them?
I would imagine Brad would move closer to them.
Okay.
We've got a document we've given them that sets up our wishes for Brad. You can't really tell somebody how to conduct a trust to the trustee, right? But you can. They're our sons, right? And we're giving them a wish list for Brad and how we'd like for his life to be lived out.
And they're fully aware of that, and they've agreed to it.
And we've gone over with them. So, you know, you have to trust. You have to have a certain amount of trust in who's the trustee, right?
Yeah. It's they wouldn't be a trustee if you didn't.
Right.
You know, there. So I think that's a conversation that many families know needs to happen and doesn't happen until it's absolutely necessary. And then it's sprung and it's like, whoa, I didn't sign up for this.
Yes.
Kind of thing. And then it goes back to the state. And then you have someone that doesn't have any family close by living in a group home. And so planning and having that conversation is very necessary early.
Yes.
Extremely. I mean, the state can't keep the roads up good enough. You know, and you want to give them my son? I don't think so.
I like the way you put that. I'm going to use that if you don't mind. I'm definitely going to use that in the future. That was very well put.
Well, and you know, he's just experienced so many things, and he has such a full life, and we want him to continue that full life. Will he live to be, you know, what a typical lifespan is? Probably not, because of all the medical issues he's got. But in the meantime, he is going to live full and happy life.
I can tell just by meeting him today that he is.
Oh, yeah.
He's full of, full of energy, loves what he's doing, loves meeting people.
He's full of something anyhow.
Whoops.
I got my phone on your chair. I apologize about that.
He's back looking at himself.
Excuse me. Well, that about sums it up. If there's anything that we haven't said, and there's a family listening or a friend listening, that maybe in a spot that you think you were at any time, what would you like to say to them?
I would say go with your gut and do what you think is the best for your child, no matter what other people say. Because we've been told so many times we were ruining his life, or we weren't giving him the optimal opportunities. And I look at his life now, and just don't listen to the naysayers. Do what you think is the best for your
I
child.
mean, I think you have to take in what they're saying and process it. But you always need to go with your gut, because they don't know your child, your loved one, and you do.
We used to have a little saying in our study that said, "I'm the expert on my child. Everyone else is a consultant."
Well, that's good too.
And so that's our perspective. We know him. We know what'll work with him, and everybody else will take in what they have to say and use what will work for him, and move on.
I imagine that principal that he told me about, I don't know if he or she's seen Brad recently, but would be like, I was way out of my place there trying to lecture.
I've never hit anybody in their experience that I felt like had animosity for Brad
No,
or wishing harm on Brad, but they're working with programs and boxes, and that's the way they see life, or see these situations. They don't see them through they don't have the same perspective that we do as his parents.
And perspective is a lot, because there's not usually one day that goes by that we're not in interaction with somebody that they don't say, Brad, you've made my day. If I don't hear that once, I hear it, 10 times a week. So there's very few days that go by that I don't hear that for him.
Brad, you made my day today.
There you go.
Well, you made his, because he's loved looking at himself in the
I love you, Mommy.
I love you too, buddy.
I love you, Dad.
Love you too, Brad.
Love you.
Okay, we are going to conclude this week's episode. Everybody, thank you for watching. And I love everybody on the other end. Give a big round of applause to the entire family here for being here. So,
Thank you for having us.
and we will see you next week.